So after seeing a post by Stephanie, thank you Stephanie for the inspiration, I figured it was about time that I did a video post for updating on our garden. It's a beautiful day. It's like 85. Oh, no, it says it's over 90 degrees. I don't know. I don't trust that exactly, but pretty warm out. Garden's been going nuts. We've been harvesting a bunch of stuff. We'll get to that in a minute. Let's start with the tour. So, we're here. We have our lemon cucumbers trellising up. Haven't really seen any cucumbers quite yet on these guys, but these ones get the least amount of sun, so it'll take a little longer, but they'll get there. Over here we got our pole beans. There are 3 different varieties in here. We have a burgundy bean, a French bean, and I believe it's a Kentucky Wonder style, kind of traditional. They're going crazy. Some of them have made it about 4 feet up or so. Around the edges, we have some various onions, head lettuce. This here we did butterhead. That's this guy. This one is Bib. These are our second crop, I think. Yeah, this is definitely our second crop. This guy is a romaine, Jericho romaine. This one is also a romaine. He is just called green romaine. Some second crops there. One that needs picked. He's actually a little too far gone, but it'll be fine. This is leaf lettuce. It's called Italianesier. Over here is a mix of arugula, red leaf. I don't remember what it was called, but over here, got some more cucumbers. These guys are beautiful. They're going to town. So these are Mediterranean slicers and long English cucumbers. And as you can see, we've actually almost got some ready to go already. This guy is probably, 4 inches long or so. And down over here, we've got another one, about the same size. So these guys are gonna do really good this year. We also have some basil in here, just kind of filling in spots. This is Genevieve and Thai basil. I think this one is Thai basil, and this one is Genevieve. A bunch of onions. See, we're doing 3 different varieties: red onion, sweet, or Italian sweet, and Storgen, your typical. And a bunch of carrots. Also 3 different varieties. Forget their names. One was started with an R. It's like a multicolor version, and then forget the third type. But some scallions, going strong. And of course radishes. We've cycled through about 3 different rotations, and I think we're on our 4th or something like that now. So radishes grow so fast though. Over here we've got some potatoes, some first crop potatoes. Right here are 3 different varieties. One is a fingerling, one is a red, and one is a Yukon. We actually had, where you currently see corn, we had a bunch of purple potatoes. We harvested all of those though already, which is super early, but we actually got some decent sized ones. They were getting very crowded very quick. We packed them in really tight. So anyway, probably about 15 to 20 pounds worth, which is pretty good for this space. So we replaced it with corn. I've never grown corn in raised beds. We cheated and bought starts because, well, it's a little bit late to be doing seed, although you can do it here, just not necessarily recommended. In addition to the corn, there's going to be some more pole beans, essentially a second crop pole bean, that are growing adjacent to the corn. They'll use the corn as their trellis. And then right in the center, of course you can't see it yet because I just did this yesterday, but there's also going to be a row of carrots. So Just trying to fill in as much space as you can. Over here, we've got a different crop of potatoes. There was originally purple potatoes. We pulled them as new potatoes so that they weren't shading these guys over here. These are, I believe, a Yukon style. Right here are our pickle cucumbers, although this one may not be a pickle. He may have gotten mixed in. It might be a slicer type, so we'll find out. Not really sure why these ones are not doing quite as well as the others. They may have been exposed to more weather early in the season, so that might be why they're just taking their sweet time, but we'll see what happens. Clearly not doing as well as those bad boys over there. So then over here we got our jungle. This is quite the jungle. These are all peas, clearly. We have OG snap pea, and we have what are called adaptive snow pea. So these guys are the OG. We've been harvesting these daily. We can't keep ahead or keep up with them really way more than we need. It's been a great year for peas. Interesting fact, all of these peas are, about half of these peas I should say, were actually buried underneath about 18 inches of snow. At one point we had planted them, and then there was the snowpocalypse here, and that same weekend actually we planted them on Friday. It was a beautiful day, and the next day it snowed like crazy, so it was quite interesting, but they're clearly okay. Here's our snow peas. They've been quite delicious, although I won't eat them if they get to like this size. I don't do peas like that. Over here is some of our tomatoes. We're doing tomatoes in both pots and in the beds. I'll get to the bed ones here in a minute. We are doing 4 varieties of tomatoes this year. 5 varieties. This one is a Pompeii Roma. This one is also a Pompeii Roma. Last year we did San Marzano Roma and weren't very happy with the results. Had to deal with blossom end root rot, which was a pain, especially in pots. So apparently San Marzano is specifically more susceptible to that, which basically means a lack of calcium. This year we've preemptively put a bunch of oyster shells in, so hopefully that won't be a problem. So we'll see what happens. And Pompeii is not supposed to be as susceptible. This guy here is an heirloom. Let's see, he is I believe this is the Marvel Stripe. We have 2 this is definitely the Marvel Stripe. So we have 2 heirlooms, Marvel Stripe, and then over here will be our Brandywine. He's just now starting to produce. I'm not seeing any decent sized ones. So yeah, he's a little bit slower, but excuse me. Over here is a cherry. This is an orange cherry. We should have ripe cherry tomatoes by early July, if not within the next couple weeks. So over here is an experimental potted garden, and it's doing quite well. Some more basil. This is Genevieve. These are chives. We have 2 varieties of chives. One's garlic and standard. We are trying what is called kabocha squash, who is making his way over there. We'll keep guiding him wherever we want him to go. Kabocha squash is a Japanese style pumpkin that's used a lot in curry, and it's really good in curry, and we love curry. So mint, can't have a garden without mojito mint. Summer is just not summer without mojitos, so got that. This is an Italian oregano. Oh, I need to pull that. Over here I had some lettuces previously. All those lettuces have been harvested now. So now we have some second crop spinach going, some arugula in the center, and then I planted the 3rd crop spinach along there just the day before yesterday. So this is thyme, parsley, this is your standard curly. Back here, some more mint. This is actually called lemon mint. Kind of excited to see how a mojito tastes with it. Of course, these big bad boys are some dill for when we do our pickling. Over here, some Thai basil, some second and third crop, essentially. We're trying a zucchini in a pot. We've actually harvested 2 zucchini already. Looks like this guy didn't make it, unfortunately. Sometimes they don't get pollinated, but we try to be diligent about hand pollinating. If you don't have a ton of flowers around, don't have a ton of bees around, then you got to try and hand pollinate, particularly squash. So soon we'll have plenty of bees once the lavender goes blooming. But anyway, moving on, some catnip to keep the cat satisfied. He actually loves it. An experiment with extra peppers that we had. We had a ton of extra peppers. Each of these pots has 3 different peppers. So I got an idea from Thistledown Farms, which is a local Eugene farm, on they put a bunch in pots, and I figure that, I don't know, they don't have very large root bases, so if I can keep them well fertilized, they should do okay. We'll see what happens though. But these are extras. These are the real dudes, or girls, whatever you prefer. This year, for peppers, we are doing bell pepper, as you can see. We're doing these guys, which are that's a jalapeno, actually. I thought it was a sweet snack, but it's not. I don't think I have any snack peppers yet showing up quite yet, but anyway, we're doing the baby snack peppers. There's 9 in this bed. And then of course cilantro, lots of cilantro. This is 3rd crop cilantro. This will be 4th crop cilantro down here. I need to pick this away so it's not getting shaded. Lots and lots of cilantro because we like lots and lots of guacamole. And of course we have our marigolds in our beds. Oh, this is a new development as of this year. You see these black pipes. Goes to our new automatic sprinkler system, which I'll make a separate video on that later. But okay, so here's some potted stuff. These are just kind of to, even out this space. One of these days I'm gonna have pavers in here, but mostly flowers. So some delphinium in the center. He got hit pretty hard because I left him outside when it was pretty cold, so we'll see what happens with him. Some marigold. These are snapdragons. There's a ton in here. We'll see how that goes. This is Janelle's work. This is a dahlia. Got hit by some bug, but he'll do perfectly fine. This is a crackerjack marigold. These guys get monstrous, about 5 feet tall at least. This is a variety mix. It's got all sorts of crap in here, so see what happens there. I feel like there's some poppies. Speaking of poppies, this is another Janelle experiment. She transplanted some poppies from out front that I just didn't like the way they were looking to back here, put in the same pot as I had this other delphinium. They're actually surviving, so they should bloom. I don't know. It's kind of late for poppies, so. Tomatoes. These are our premium tomatoes. So they are freaking huge already. As you can see, these got to be like 4 to 5 feet tall. In this bed, we have 2 Pompeii Romas. One here. One here. A few Romas sitting right there. Oh, several more over here. This guy is a black cherry. Pretty excited about it. I don't actually like tomatoes, but I love growing them. And something that's like a purple in my garden makes me kind of excited because it's just a different color, not something that you used to see every day. So I also love picking them because once they start coming, they don't stop. I'm also trying to fill in spaces this year a little better as I can. We'll see how it goes. This is a bib lettuce. He doesn't get a ton of sun, so he doesn't do quite that well, but he's still alive and growing well. So in the center we have some spinach, same kind of deal. It doesn't get a ton of sun, but doing okay. This side is some second crop spinach as well. It gets all morning sun, so it's actually doing pretty decent. This is like our second crop cilantro, I think second crop. Definitely not first, but this is a head concept lettuce. More cilantro, more dill. This is essentially a second crop dill. And over here is some of the stuff we did over winter / early spring. So this is all garlic. We planted this November-ish of 2018. It's getting pretty close to being harvested, probably here in a week or two. We've already pulled scapes off of some of them, which you can use as a seasoning. Just for those that don't know, this is a scape. Chop it up just like a chive, essentially. Over here are some leaf lettuce that we had, 3 varieties. Again, more Italianesia. This is called Merlot. It's my favorite. This guy right here is called deer's tongue. We've had way more lettuce this year than we could do anything with, so it's been a good year for lettuce. This is a kale of Janelle's. We'll probably put in a couple more kale once this is done. And then once we pull these garlic, we will put as much compost as we can in here, get it nice and nutrient rich again, and then probably put either second crop potatoes or second crop bush beans. So anyway, more garlic over here. Interspersed is beets. Fun little experiment. It's actually Janelle's mom's idea, and it's actually worked quite well. I think beets are disgusting, but again, I'll grow anything just to grow it. So probably be giving a lot of these away. Janelle doesn't mind beets, but doesn't really care for them. But again, about the time we harvest this garlic, hopefully we can harvest the beets. Then we'll pull this, leaf lettuce that I had put in, and probably replace this with either green beans or potatoes, whichever one we don't end up putting in the other. So in addition to all of this, just a nice view, we've also got quite the experiment going on back over here in what we call the wasteland. You can see this is basically where we put all the crap. But these guys are quite fun. These are called hardy kiwi, otherwise known as kiwi berry, which we found out recently one of the #1 states to grow kiwi berry happens to be Oregon. Didn't realize that when we bought it, but we can see why. So those are fun. And then we're also experimenting with squash, and this experiment's going quite well. So right here is a spaghetti squash. Last year we grew 2 spaghetti squash and ended up with somewhere on the order of about 50-ish, maybe that's exaggerating, maybe more like 30, a lot of spaghetti squash. But it took over so much of the garden that I didn't want to do it in the garden again this year. So it ended up over here. We'll see how it does. This one didn't take. This is the same deal as the zucchini. If you don't get pollination, they won't take. I did hand fertilize one of these, or pollinate one of these, so hopefully that works. And then 2 more kabocha, and these ones are just going to town. So you can see they're quite long. And I do have one that seems to have taken. There's a kabocha. And then over here, some more zucchini. and 3, 4, 5, 6 more tomatoes. These are literally all the tomatoes we had left over. So I dug some holes, filled it with some nutrient-rich soil, gave them some cages, called it a day. I obviously tapped into our sprinkler system. Brought that over here so I don't have to worry about watering them. So they are doing quite nuts. I think over here is another black cherry. No, I think this one's Marvel Stripe. I believe this one is Pompeii. Yeah, it's a Pompeii. Another Pompeii. Another Pompeii. So 3 Pompeii. One of these is an orange cherry. And then finally a black cherry. So there you have it. There's the Stefanich family farm. Thanks for listening.